What if I told you that the most successful people you know are hiding something from you right now, and that secret isn't what they're doing, but what they're planning to do next? Every conversation you have, every meeting you attend, every relationship you build, there's an invisible chess game happening beneath the surface. And while you're moving your pieces in plain sight, the true masters are setting up checkmate moves you'll never see coming. This is Law 3 from Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power. Always say less than necessary, or more precisely, keep people in the dark about your true intentions. But this isn't just about being secretive. This is about understanding a fundamental truth of human psychology that separates the powerful from the powerless, the wealthy from the struggling, and the influential from the ignored. Here's what most people get catastrophically wrong. They think honesty and transparency are always virtues. They believe that sharing their goals, their strategies, their dreams with everyone will somehow help them achieve those goals faster. They're dead wrong, and their transparency is killing their potential. Let me tell you about a man who understood this law better than almost anyone in history. His name was Cardinal Richelieu, and he essentially ruled France for 18 years while someone else wore the crown. Richelieu never announced his intentions. When he wanted to eliminate a political rival, he didn't declare war. He simply began a series of seemingly unrelated moves that, months later, would converge to destroy his enemy completely. His opponents never saw it coming because they never knew what game they were really playing. But this goes deeper than political maneuvering. This taps into something primal in human psychology. When people know what you want, they automatically position themselves either to help you or to stop you. And here's the brutal truth. More often than not, they position themselves to stop you, not necessarily out of malice, but out of instinct. Think about it. When someone tells you they're planning to start a business that competes with your industry, what's your first reaction? Even if you like them, even if you want to support them, part of you immediately starts calculating how their success might affect you. You can't help it. It's human nature. But when someone's intentions are hidden, you can't position yourself against something you don't see coming. The psychology here is fascinating and dark. Humans are naturally competitive, even when they pretend not to be. We're constantly measuring ourselves against others, constantly protecting our territory, constantly looking for threats to our status. When you reveal your intentions, you're essentially handing people a roadmap of exactly where and how to sabotage you. But concealing intentions isn't just about avoiding sabotage. It's about creating psychological advantage. When people don't know what you're really after, they project their own fears and desires onto your actions. They fill in the blanks with their own anxieties, and that projection often works in your favor in ways you never planned. Here's where it gets really interesting. Uncertainty creates a psychological phenomenon called the halo effect. When people can't quite figure out what you're up to, they tend to assume you're more intelligent, more strategic, more powerful than you might actually be. Mystery breeds respect. Transparency breeds contempt. Steve Jobs was a master of this law. Apple's product launches weren't just marketing events. They were exercises in strategic concealment. While competitors were announcing their plans years in advance, giving everyone time to copy or counter their moves, Jobs would develop products in complete secrecy, then reveal them when it was too late for anyone to respond effectively. The result? Apple didn't just compete in markets, they created and dominated entirely new categories. But this law extends far beyond business. It applies to every relationship, every social interaction, every negotiation you'll ever have. When you're dating someone new, the person who reveals all their feelings and intentions immediately loses power in the dynamic. When you're interviewing for a job, the candidate who desperately broadcasts how much they need the position weakens their negotiating position. When you're dealing with difficult people, the moment you show them exactly which buttons they can push, they'll push those buttons. Now, here's where most people misunderstand this law. They think it means you should lie or be manipulative. That's not it at all. You don't have to lie about your intentions, you simply don't have to reveal them. There's a massive difference between deception and discretion. The ancient Chinese strategist Sun Tzu wrote, "All warfare is based on deception." But he wasn't advocating dishonesty. He was recognizing that information asymmetry is power. When you know more about the situation than your opponent does, you have a strategic advantage. When your opponent knows exactly what you're planning, that advantage disappears. Here's how this plays out in everyday life. Let's say you're planning to ask for a raise. The amateur approach is to tell everyone in the office about your plans, to discuss your strategy, to build what you think is support. But what you're actually doing is giving your boss time to prepare counter-arguments, to document your weaknesses, to potentially even start looking for your replacement. The professional approach is to quietly document your value, research market rates, and choose the perfect moment to make your case, without anyone seeing it coming. Or consider this scenario. You're planning to start a side business while working your current job. The transparent approach is to share your excitement with colleagues, to ask for advice, to be open about your entrepreneurial dreams. But what you're really doing is creating potential conflicts of interest, raising questions about your loyalty, and possibly even violating non-compete clauses you forgot you signed. The strategic approach is to develop your business quietly, ensuring it's successful and sustainable before anyone at your current job even knows it exists. The dark psychology aspect of this law is that it exploits a fundamental human weakness, our need to fill information gaps. When you don't tell people what you're thinking, they'll create stories to explain your behavior, and humans are terrible at creating accurate stories about other people's motivations. They usually assume either the best or the worst, rarely the truth. You can use this tendency to your advantage, but here's the ethical consideration that comes with this power. Just because you can manipulate people's perceptions doesn't always mean you should. The question isn't whether this law works, it absolutely does. The question is how you choose to use it. You can use strategic concealment to protect yourself from unnecessary interference while you build something valuable, or you can use it to deceive people for selfish gain. The tool is neutral. Your character determines its application. Here's your practical implementation strategy. Start by conducting an audit of what you're currently revealing about your intentions. Are you sharing your business ideas before they're protected? Are you discussing your relationship goals on the first date? Are you announcing your career moves before you've secured them? If so, you're probably undermining yourself. Next, practice strategic silence. This doesn't mean becoming secretive about everything. It means being selective about what you reveal and when. Share outcomes, not processes. Reveal results, not methods. Show people what you've accomplished, not what you're planning to accomplish. Master the art of deflection. When people ask about your future plans, redirect the conversation. "I'm focused on doing excellent work right now," is much more powerful than "I'm planning to start my own company next year." The first response suggests competence and presence. The second reveals vulnerability and timeline. Learn to read the room. Some people earn the right to know your intentions through trust, loyalty, and proven discretion. Others forfeit that right through gossip, competition, or demonstrated unreliability. Adjust your transparency accordingly. But perhaps most importantly, understand that this law isn't about being antisocial or paranoid. It's about recognizing that information is power, and power shared carelessly is power lost. In a world where everyone is broadcasting their every thought on social media, the person who maintains strategic silence has an enormous advantage. The most successful people understand that life is a game with hidden rules, and one of those rules is that your intentions are your most valuable secrets. Guard them accordingly. Share them strategically. Reveal them only when doing so serves your ultimate purpose. Because in the end, the person who controls information controls outcomes, and the person who conceals their intentions until the perfect moment doesn't just win. They win so decisively that their opponents never even realize they were in a competition until it's already over. Your silence isn't emptiness. It's potential energy waiting to be converted into unstoppable momentum.